All right, welcome to the ADHD After Dark podcast.
Well,
Dino-
I heard the news today. It seems my life is going to die. I close my eye, begin to pray. It seems a joy stream down my face with arms wide open under the sunlight. Welcome to this place. House with arms wide open.
I can't wait to see what the AI thinks you just said.
You gotta avoid the NC, whatever it's called, strike. I forget what it's called.
Oh, the video game voice actor strikes?
No, it's where like you play music on your channel and you get that DMCA. That's it.
Oh.
DMCA strike.
Well, let me tell you this much. You are not going to get a DMCA violation for that.
Exactly. That was my goal there.
Oh, man. I have no idea what you guys were saying, but apparently
you just hit
did.
all you got to do is
You just got to get the vibe and just do all your vowels harder than your consonants, and you got it. I think it was just because, I pulled a murky. I made myself a stiff drink before this. I made myself a Black Russian.
Oh, there you go.
I had to. Yeah. I made you drink on Monday. You hated me. And then you had to write an apology letter. I'm sorry. I'm such a piece of shit.
And our dear listeners, if you're curious about that, you can actually probably still check out the VOD on twitch.tv/GameBoatTV. Or you can just wait until it's out on YouTube where there's some funny edits around it. Because we split it into 3 different videos.
All right, guys. I finally got a device that we can use to measure our dick sizes.
Oh, finally.
Oh, paramicrometers.
Yeah. That's about how big mine is. 11.7 millimeters.
That's about the size of that one dude your fiance was telling us about that she almost had a thing with.
Oh, no. Yeah, that guy. That was pretty terrifying.
So I found out that if I bend down, if I was trying to stretch and grab my calves, then my dick, I get what you're saying when
it sucks into you and you're like, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I'm in a long car ride.
Yeah, you're in a car ride and you're in a car ride and you're at that weird angle where you're like this, but it's sucking in and it gets to that critical mass where the head just kind of.
See, you guys, your problem is you're taller than myself.
Yeah, so we have a lot of
posture is more.
We have a lot of.
You're more sucked in, as where I have a lot of room in my vehicle. I'm kind of more lean back. And,
bro, I drive a fucking Tahoe. Let's not talk about vehicle size right now. I'm too tall for my fucking Tahoe,
I used to be in a Captiva, which, still got it in.
Yeah.
But now I'm over a little Camry.
If I sit straight up in my Tahoe, I have such a huge, long upper body torso that my fucking head hits the ceiling, and I'm disproportionately long. I'm my head's hitting the ceiling, and if I didn't have the ability to move my chair, my legs would be fucking dangling off the edge like this. I can't touch the floor, but my head can hit the ceiling. I don't know how you fix that problem. But yeah, so you see what I mean? It's there's a little point. Once it passes that point, it's one of them fucking wrist straps that just curls up.
I was in the shower, and I was
you bent over to get the soap, and then it went.
No, I was washing my legs.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Oh my!
Scrubbing down by my calves, my ankles. And, I was down. I was okay.
And then you felt it. Yeah. Yeah, imagine that, but you don't have control over it. It just kind of happens. It's super uncomfortable.
The shower was, wasn't the warmest at the time.
Well, yeah, now to make it uncomfortable, once it sucks in, now keep it there for 30 minutes without trying to make it obvious that you're trying to get it out. I came up with the whole strategy of just get a boner to reverse it.
Pockets. Kind of.
Have you ever done that, E?
Just the pockets.
Several times.
You're man, I'm sitting here and I'm just grabbing my dick and I can't get it to fucking come out. So then you make the less awkward decision to be I'm just going to think about tits and try to get a boner. And then it just goes and you're like, okay, cool, now it's fixed, and I'm not grabbing my dick anymore. But then you have the other problem of now how do I get this fucking
just driving
now,
it? I'm horny.
Now how do I get this huge boner to go away?
I mean, at that point, you just start thinking of like kittens or puppies or something innocent.
All I picture is
that doesn't work for me.
Down the highway, like
once it's up,
75
once
miles an hour.
No, once it's
like
up,
I got an erection.
It's not that. It's like once it's up, it's like there's a fucking lever that like won't let it go down. It's fucking
You're furry.
Yeah. Okay.
I did see there's like a flea market ish kind of thing set up in like the downtown of my town the other day, and we were going to breakfast, and there was a shitload of furries at this like flea market, farm market kind of thing, and I'm just like,
was it
all right?
Was it like last weekend?
Yeah, this past weekend.
Okay. How many of them do you think were going to the con that me and E went to?
Who knows?
Probably a fair amount of them, let's be honest.
That's a really tiny con.
It was a very small con.
The thing I hated the most about it, E, was literally like half of the artists there were like, hey, I 3D printed stuff off the internet and now I'm selling it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. But now I own a 3D printer, so now I don't need to buy any of that.
It was just one of those that I thought it would just be kind of a neat thing. And I saw some of the programs they're supposed to be doing. And then once we actually got there, it wasn't like anything they were promising.
Oh, E, you're the best storyteller out of the bunch. I'm bad at telling stories, but you remember the one story from the D&D session with the slimes?
Oh, yes.
You wanted to enlighten Murky on what happened in this guy's D&D campaign.
I'm going to try to remember to the best of my ability. Coco might have to fill in some gaps.
Yeah, I can fill in some gaps, but it was probably the funniest thing the funniest thing that I ever heard in my entire life. Like,
okay, so Coco, Gaz, Shannon, and myself went to what was supposed to be a DM roundtable discussion.
Yeah,
you go in. Originally, it was
we were looking to learn about DMing better. Like that's what we thought it was going to be. That's not what it was
supposed to be about.
Dude never fucking showed up.
The dude never showed up. So thankfully, there was somebody who worked with the con before who was there, and he was like, "Hey, I host a similar thing. However, we're going to retool it to something that I'm a little more familiar with." So it just kind of turned into weird stories that happened during your campaigns.
Yeah, and they were weird.
Player DM. And this one guy went up.
It was weird, all right.
And he was talking about something that happened to another player during his campaign that directly affected him and the rest of the party.
Yeah.
And one of those.
The character was a succubus, and they were trying to, if I remember correctly, they were trying to seduce like the merchant or something like that, right?
Yes.
To like get the party.
More items, but didn't get the item and ended up pregnant instead.
Yeah,
the succubus is being played by a man.
Yeah, so they rolled bad twice, and they were like, "Well, you persuaded him so badly that now you're pregnant, and you still didn't get the extra item. So get fucked." And
so get
fucked. But what happened was that like the next session or like the same session where they were like, well, fucking whatever his name was is pregnant, so let's just skip ahead 9 months and figure out what to do from that.
Yeah, it was one of those that they tried working with the succubus being pregnant, then they felt kind of awkward, so they're like, let's do a little bit of a time skip. And
let's skip to the birth. And then they had him roll a D100 to see what came out.
To see what the outcome was going to be.
They had him roll a D100 to see what came out, and he rolled a fucking 1 or some shit like that. A nat 1.
And he was 2 slime cubes. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, 2 slime cubes popped out of the succubus's vagina, and then proceeded to party kill the entire party. So the dude got pregnant, gave birth to slimes that then slaughtered the party.
So they had to start a whole new campaign with a whole bunch of new characters.
Also, that happened on session 3.
Yeah, they were like early in the campaign.
They just got to the end where they all meet.
Yeah, they almost made it to the tutorial boss, and he just watched this fucking lady give birth to slimes and kill their team.
Oh my!
Oh,
all right, I'm gonna roll to see what level the slimes are.
Fuck.
Oh, you guys are.
Boo.
Does everybody have their extra characters?
How does anybody have that extra campaign? I didn't spend too much time on this one, so we can just go to another one.
You guys fucking shit the bed on this, so
we're just gonna nuke this world, start over.
I feel like on session 3, if that happens, I feel like the DM at some point has to be like, it was all a dream, surprise, it didn't actually happen. Because
so help me God, if you do this again, I will fucking kill all of you for every campaign forever.
Yeah. Dude, he told that story and I fucking died, dude.
It was the funniest story that was said.
Yeah.
I was half tempted to talk about the first time I ever DM'd story, but I was like, I don't think so. I don't think it's funny.
I was almost hoping to talk about the dick in my ass comment, but like that one wouldn't have been funny. Like with how I tell stories. And you had to be there kind of moment.
It was definitely you had to be in the room.
Especially because somebody just told a story about getting pregnant, giving birth to slimes, and TPKing the party. So I was like, well, I don't think dick in my ass can really compete with that. Feel like somebody kind of won. This was the second story.
You knew you were outmatched.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, so that's probably not
I
a good
had
one.
someone fuck a dragon and have 19 dragon babies.
Yeah. Tempt the DM with seducing the dragon. See what happens.
You got to roll for top or bottom.
Yeah, you seduced the dragon. You'd think you were going to leave. You're staying. You're married
you ain't
now.
leaving this room.
Hey, just so you know, the DC's really high for top or bottom.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're going to be a boss.
You're going to be whatever the dragon says you are.
Do you think dragons within the D&D universe, and I'm sure it's explained somewhere, do you think they have cloacas or do you think they have reproductive organs?
Probably a cloaca.
Okay.
If they're light enough to fly, it would be like avian-like in some form. Bird lizard.
I think don't dragons lay eggs?
Yeah, they do, I believe. As far as I'm aware, they don't give live birth. So,
there's no reason to have all the other stuff. Probably not good for the spermies getting really warm from the fire.
The spermies
from the fire.
Well, what if it's like an ice dragon or something?
Well, then you have the other problem.
What if it's like a flower dragon?
I'm gonna fucking show you my flower.
What? I know Matt tried explaining dragons to us once, and there's something to do with like colors or metals or something.
Well, let me put it this way. If I see a dragon, I'm either running or trying to fuck it. One of the two things is happening. Since I'm a cat, probably running.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a rogue, too. What is your charisma?
Not great. I haven't opened my character sheet since the last time we played. I have no idea.
Yeah, same.
I feel like I'm not charismatic.
Thought he was charismatic. Being a bard, he's
luckily I'm deceptive, and nobody caught on that I killed the dude's child until I fucking revealed it to Murky. Oh man!
You made me swear not to tell anybody. So
I think it was funny that I think almost everybody forgot about that. Like, player wise,
shadowed up myself. So.
I mean, yeah, you got some own secrets, but you haven't killed anybody yet by accident. Just wait till one day, Matt.
Yeah, my guy got to tackle a wolf and fucking give him a quick headbutt.
Well, I mean, player knowledge. Everybody knew.
I couldn't do fucking shit.
Everybody at the table absolutely knew I killed that kid because that happened during one of our sessions. Murky hasn't had anything that is, happened yet.
We got through my dream without casualty.
Murky's just Jotaro Kujo over here.
Yeah, it was funny. I was tracking everything because I didn't know it was a fucking dream. So I was tracking all the ball bearings we were used. And then Mattman's like, and then you wake up from your dream. And I was like, does that mean I get all my ball bearings back? Yes, that means you get all your ball bearings back because you never used them.
All right, can we cast high on this one? All right, throw it. That was a shitty throw.
Yeah, we were terrible. We were like, we want to. Our goal was like, can we throw it like here? And then somebody rolled a 1 and it went and fell right at their feet, like they dropped it.
So he would throw it,
and then the next person rolled a 20, and Mattman was like, "Yeah, you threw it way too far."
That
mother
fucking rocket launcher. This ball bearing kills 4 birds on its way across this.
That motherfucker was skipping across the lake. It took a fish with it. It went into the water.
Conscious lady of the water.
Yeah, it went into the water, came back up, and then there was
of swans.
Yeah, it turned into a hook and had a trail of fish behind it when it landed on shore. Fed a small family on the other side of the lake. And now they forever worship the light ball.
How long does... I forget what we cast on. How long does it last?
Long enough for a family to see it and worship that shit forever. It's like fucking 10 minutes.
They just have a single ball bearing waiting for it to light up again.
Yeah, they're like, bring us fish! Oh, ball of water.
Basically, we just created a cult within Murky's dream.
Yeah. That checks out. Lubong's gonna have some fucked up dreams.
In a different dimension, there's a fishing family that worships a single ball bearing.
Man,
that once lit up, supposedly, or so they claim.
Supposedly.
All right, now I'm out of stuff to talk about. We're 17 minutes in. Where's Zeno?
So I watched a movie recently on...
Another shitty movie?
It's extremely shitty.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, good. Shitty movies.
Good. Tell me about this shitty movie.
So this movie is called Crabs.
Okay. What's the synopsis of what I would read if I was looking at the back of a VHS box of this movie?
Town gets overtaken by crabs, which slowly mutate into monster crabs, and only one boy who's paraplegic is smart enough to save the town.
This is literally the plot of Crab People from South Park.
So when I say
with Al Gore being the quadriplegic.
When I say crabs, what comes to your guys' mind? I'm just curious.
I'm seeing Coco doing a lot of reaching for the crab, right? That's what comes to my mind.
I think of like the pirate crabs, I want to say. And I want to say it's from like South Park, like the animated pirate crabs.
Are you talking about the crab people that I just made a reference to?
Yeah.
Crab.
Okay.
That or just Coco's pubes getting fucking ripped out of his body from a bad toilet seat incident.
Oh.
You were driving around super horny and you stopped at a fucking Flying J. You told me about it.
I would rather stick my ass out the window and shit fucking oil slicks.
Oh my.
That's a fucking Mario Kart power up. I hit the question box. I had to throw it to get a new item.
Shit off the cart. I
just shit my pants.
So what I'm hearing is you guys do not envision this. I just sent into our group chat.
Oh dear Lord, what I'm about to look at. Where is it?
No, not immediately.
You mean a fucking, what is that? Is that a fucking...
Do I want to say the name of it or no?
Let's see if Coco can guess.
Isn't that a horseshoe crab?
It is a horseshoe crab. Correct. These are the crabs of the movie Crab.
It's literally just like a fucked up stingray.
So a bunch of, like an army of horseshoe crabs, I take it, move into this town, village, city, large
picture
city,
this. The first thing that it shows is someplace, I believe they're supposed to be in Japan or something.
Of course, it's Japan.
And it shows a singular horseshoe crab zipping along a beach. And then it shows what was definitely made in Adobe. These like PNG towers, like nuclear reactors collapsing and exploding. And on the fence outside of it, there's like no crab posters allowed on it. And that explodes. And then it brings up the title card. Then it comes to a scene out of
wait. So this is the start of the movie? Like we're like we're like a minute in at this point?
Seconds.
And we've already blown up a fucking nuclear power plant from a horseshoe crab. I think Berkey thought this was way sooner into the movie. We haven't even hit the.
was way later.
Legit the intro.
What do we come back from? Invasion's already. This is like if you started Sharknado with somebody jumping into a shark with a chainsaw.
So then it shows a different beach somewhere in America.
Yeah,
and it just has these two people fucking on the beach.
Are we like 30 seconds in now?
Yeah, we're like
45. We're like
so Japan,
less than a minute still.
So Japan has fallen, and people are having sex still in America. Okay.
People over here still fucking.
They don't even know that the crabs are coming.
And they're doing cowgirl on the beach.
Nice.
So next thing you see is this little horseshoe crab again, like zipping along the beach. You can tell that they have like their prop department made this like fake shell and they put on like an RC car and they're just zipping it along the beach. And then it stops and it just watches them have sex. And the girl like stops and she's staring at it.
How do you like me now, Mr. Krabs?
And
okay, so we're like a minute and 30 seconds into this movie. Okay.
The guy turns and he's talking to this thing. He's like, "Oh, hey there, little buddy. You liking the show?"
If I saw a crab watching me at the
porno, porno.
No, this is like one of two scenes that has nudity
watching
in it.
Softcore. Is that what's like? They almost showed boob.
Yeah, like that is the intro. Is like they did show nips. I will say that much. They did show nips.
That's not the thing you were caring about in this instance, because you just saw fucking Chernobyl happen in Japan from a horseshoe crab
with PNGs. With PNGs.
Oh, with PNGs. Okay.
Yeah, like those nuclear reactors were PNGs.
So wait, it was like a nuclear reactor PNG, and somebody just animated it to really slowly go off the screen?
Yes.
Man, how much money did this movie make, and how do I get a job working for them?
So
not a lot, I guess.
The girl full on stops.
She gets Sharknado.
Weirded out by the crab. She puts her clothes back on.
She didn't want to get crabs.
And the guy puts his like shorts back on. I don't think he ever puts back on a shirt, but that's not relevant. Anyway, so he then decides to get his camera out and he picks the horseshoe crab up by its tail, which never do. Do not pick a horseshoe crab up by its tail. Gives it to her. She's getting like freaked out because she thinks it's gross looking. What they don't notice is this mouth underneath the shell that's moving like meh, meh. And he's trying to take a picture and then suddenly like opens its mouth really large and does like a weird noise. And he's like, "What the?" And it jumps and lunges at his face. He's falling over and blood spraying everywhere around him. The girl's freaking out. She's like trying to hit the crab and everything. So she runs and eventually picks up this rock, goes over, and what do you think happens?
She tries to smash the crab, but she smashes this dude's skull in. There's no way that this shitty movie doesn't have the girl accidentally killing the guy that she was just having sex with.
So
what a way to get
sees it.
What a way she got his rocks off.
Yes. Crab jumps out of the way. Dude sees that split second of the rock coming down, smashes his face, and she's like, "Baby, are you okay?
Baby, are you okay?" While his eyeballs are hanging by their tendons, fucking on the either side of the fucking rock, so he looks like a fucking derpy fucking fish.
So then the crab attacks her, and then it cuts away.
But she's dead.
Then we're introduced to our two main characters. I remember the boy's name is Phil, and there's like his best friend. I forget what her name was. Maddie, that was it, Madeline. So they called her Maddie. So it shows them walking through town trying to get to school, and they cut off. Well, I shouldn't even say they cut off. They're on the sidewalk. They're very plainly on the sidewalk trying to go around people. A priest steps out in front of them. Like there was enough room for this guy to stand off to the side, but no, he steps in front of them, waits for them to get close enough, starts like chewing these kids out, dropping a bunch of F-bombs. And then he flips them off. And as they walk around him and they're like walking towards the camera, you can still see the priest in the background just going like this to them. I'm like, oh, okay. Bear in mind, the priest will only show up one more time in this fucking movie. So I don't know why they made him so prevalent there.
Grabs the finger.
So then
this is like
a little bit.
So this is like what? Like 3.5 minutes into the movie. So you've watched Japan fall, you watched some sex, dude get his head bashed in, and then a lady got her face eaten by a crab, and then out of nowhere, a priest shows up and is like, "Fuck you, kids."
Yep.
I'm guessing like alien style, the crabs are fucking face.
This fucking movie is more ADHD than this podcast.
So jump cut a little bit.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Oh, yeah.
They're in science class and they're supposed to be dissecting dead cats, and the teacher's like pulling them out of like this burlap sack. You can tell that these dead cats were made by the props department.
How much did you have to drink while you were watching this movie?
I feel like sober.
I feel like
sober.
I feel like I would have needed a drink
before you watched it like that, because it'd be funny as fuck.
I would have been so drunk.
I wished I was drunk or high, because that would have made this movie 10 times more enjoyable.
I'm not entirely sure you weren't drunk or high based on this description of the movie.
I wish. So they're in science class. They're pulling out the dead cats out of the bag. Maddie walks up. She takes the dead cat from the teacher. Oh, and by the way, they tried to make this teacher look really sexy, and they like zoomed in on her miniskirt, but her like knee is out in a weird angle, and all I could focus on was how fucked up her knee looked in this shot. It looked like a PS1 game kind of a knee. But
oh no,
that's where we established that the teacher is Maddie's mom. Okay. And Maddie's just like, I wish somebody would have told me that we were dissecting dead cats today, so I would have known not to wear my best shirt. And then she goes to sit down next to the main character, Phil. And this is also where we get introduced to another like side character. He's part of the main group, but he's definitely a side character. And his name is Radu.
Okay.
I at first thought that maybe this movie was a little outdated, because I thought that they were making fun of specific mental handicaps at first. Because this dude's sitting there, he looks at the dead cat that's in front of him next to his lap partner, and he just vomits all over his table.
Okay.
And the way he starts talking, he talks basically in the third person. He's like, "Oh, Radu, so sorry." And I thought, with everything going on, they were just making fun of a handicap. I learned later that he was just a foreign exchange student. They just were really bad at showing that. Oh, and Radu also wears like this pink polo with a popped collar.
Okay.
And
this movie from like 2002?
I thought so.
What was the year? Is it like 2019?
It's from 2 years ago. It's 2022.
It's even worse.
So
let's blame the COVID.
Under 2001, guys.
Radu runs out of the classroom. And then it shows like his science partner,
this is
his
somebody's
lab partner,
like
cleaning up the table.
Dude, this is somebody's fucking like final project for their film class, and we're just fucking shitting on him.
Jaeger bombs.
I don't even want to stop it with the Jaeger bombs. I rolled for Jaeger bomb on fucking Doki Doki.
During the con, we had to drink Jaeger bombs because Coco rolled a 7.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the ADHD movie.
So then this is where we also establish that prom is coming up.
So now we're throwing prom after all the other stuff and vomit.
Uh-huh.
When does this movie take place?
They never establish.
Does it look like the internet exists?
Assume, like modern day, right?
Does it look like the internet exists?
If I remember, I don't think anybody. No, they do use the internet to search what a horseshoe crab is later in the movie.
Okay, so one could surmise that by this point, 4 fucking minutes into the movie, they know that Japan has basically died.
You would think our nuclear reactor went off over there. Or something.
The horseshoe crabs got there so fast. Nobody.
They ate the internet. They ate the feed.
Post.
So
nobody could.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Radu tries to ask out Maddie to the dance. Maddie says no, she's already got a date. And Phil, the main character, is like, oh, who the heck did you ask out? And she was like, you fucking idiot. And he was like, oh, God, okay. So jump cut a little bit later. We learn that Phil's brother, his older brother, is the deputy of the town, and their dad is dead. So,
nice.
You know, Phil's older brother is trying to take care of him, trying to sell off their dad's stuff so that way they can try to live a little bit better, because they're both basically living in trailers, like 2 separate trailers. And they go back to Phil's place, and Phil gets mail, and apparently we learn that Phil had to bribe like 2 U.S. custom agents to allow whatever this package is from Korea to be there. And it's like some battery that's like on this whole nother level of energy. And when they mess with it, it shoots out a laser and destroys like the barn door that they're in.
Oh,
that's where we also get to meet the sheriff, who, by the way, the sheriff produces the weed in this town and sells it.
What is this? But I've lost the plot line, because isn't it supposed to be horseshoe crabs taking over the world at this point?
Well,
they'll get here.
They're marching on the ocean floor.
They're not going to get anywhere if this sheriff is passing out weed. They're not getting anywhere in this town.
So that's where we also finally kind of get a little bit more introduced to the deputy, because he comes in there. We also learn, you know, he's trying to be the dad figure because dad's not there anymore. Maddie leaves. And we learn also during all that apparently Phil is trying to make robotic legs for himself. Because, you know, kind of like an exosuit thing for his legs so he can walk. Because that's his big goal. He just wants to get out of the wheelchair. And the deputy and the sheriff go on a call because a dead whale apparently has been beached on their local beach. And a lot of people are calling and complaining about it. But when they go to see the whale, which is a 3D model of a whale, I want you to know.
Does it look like the quality of the whale from what's its name from Kingdom Hearts?
I can't think of the
Pinocchio's whale, but like that model that when you come up and it eats you, Monstro, the model of Monstro when it comes up and eats you. Does it look like that quality? They probably just ripped the asset from Kingdom Hearts and PS2.
Oh my God. I have a PlayStation 2. Yeah, I got 3 of them.
Good.
Perfect. Yeah,
they talk about how the whale has obviously been attacked by something. Like its stomach is torn open. And then they do a shot from inside the whale, and you can tell the bones are just like these wooden pipes that they sanded and painted to look a little bit more like bones. And the flesh and everything is like these streamer ribbons that they got from Party City.
No.
So, like they're like absolute props to their props department. They did the best that they could with whatever their budget was, because they did a phenomenal job.
Their budget was 0.
Then I forget if it's just a little bit after that. I might be jumping around a little bit, but who fucking cares? But
let's not worry too much about jumping around, because I've heard 70 fucking story plots on the first 4 minutes of this movie.
So
no, we're 6 minutes in now.
Oh, we're 6 minutes. Sorry, I got lost.
No, I have no idea.
So
I love this though. I love it. I have to watch this.
I'm trying to remember because I might be flip-flopping a few things around here, but I think we basically go to the next day, and if I remember correctly, a bunch of nonsensical stuff kind of happens, and then we learn that the deputy used to be a student of Maddie's mom, and there is heavy sexual tension between them. These two want to fuck so bad.
And the show?
Maddie's mom.
Okay.
Because apparently she started teaching
She wants
there.
to fuck the drug dealing cop.
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
I mean, heck, he invites her in because Phil and Maddie decide to go off on a walk, and she chills with the deputy, learns that he has weed, so they just sit there smoking weed while looking at the yearbooks. And that's where he has like hearts drawn all over her and everything. It like they're really trying to point out like these two want to bang.
Right.
And
in case you didn't know,
while all that's going on, we jump cut to Radu, who's sitting with these two guys which by the way, Maddie and Phil look their age. They are absolutely teenagers. Radu looks like a 30-year-old man who shaved his face and is trying to pretend to be a teenager.
Look, they didn't have much going for them.
So Radu is sitting on this couch with people who are supposed to be older than him, and he's smoking weed with them.
He's just sitting there with like a short crop top and short shorts because they tried to put him in children's clothes. So he looks like just a fucking super old weirdo next to two kids.
And
you gotta make it through this, Murky.
dude, this is fun. I love this shit. We used to watch movies like this in college. Fucking couldn't tell you about any of them, but they were hilarious.
And a horseshoe crab sneaks in because they're all sitting in the garage for some reason. So the horseshoe crab sneaks under the garage door, and one of the guys goes, "What the heck is that?" And Radu goes, "Oh, I think it's Badger. Radu very good in fight with Badger."
Is this dude a fucking caveman?
This horseshoe crab jumps on the face of one of the dudes, knocks him off the couch, blood's going everywhere, and then the swarm of horseshoe crabs come in. Radu fucking bails while this other guy gets his face torn off, and
he's super fast.
Radu is running through town trying to get people's attention, but because he doesn't really know how to explain what's happening, everybody kind of pushes him away and tells him to get bent. So he runs into a bar just screaming that he needs help, but because nobody believes he's 21 years old, nobody wants to listen to him. They think he's a lunatic, so they like yell at him to get out, and he's like, "Fine, I hope these demons come and eat your faces." So he like leaves. And that's where he runs into Phil and Maddie, who are walking down like this alley. And that's, I think it was around this time that Phil just tried to make the legs work, but they broke. And Maddie told him, all these encouraging words. And finally, to cheer him up, she's like, "Do you want to watch homeless people have sex on the beach?" And he was like, yeah.
We made a jump, and I'm very confused now.
So that was the reason why they went on a walk. The legs didn't work. Phil needed to cool down. So Radu runs into them in the alleyway, and one of the horseshoe crabs comes up, and Maddie's like, oh, it's so cute. What is this? And Radu's like, no, stay away. It's a demon. But Maddie goes up to this thing. She's about to like touch it, and it dies. So Maddie and Phil leave, and Radu just starts shit talking this dead horseshoe crab. He's like, even Poseidon didn't want you. And it's like it's like a minute-long roast to a dead horseshoe crab. But then the shell pops up and this like glob comes out, and then it like rises up and it starts looking down at Radu, and Radu's like, oh fuck. And then it jump cuts to Phil returning home, and you know, Phil and his older brother, they go into their trailers. You know, they're going to bed for the night, but Maddie decides to sneak her mom into the barn where they're like working on those prosthetic robot exoskeleton legs for Phil, and they decide to like finish the project and make it functional. So that was like a little gift that was left behind. Now the next day, the older brother gets a call. He goes to the beach. There's like this line of blood. He follows it, and boom, he finds the girl with like her face torn off. They never explain what happens after that. They just kind of find that and all the like strewn apart body parts. Then a little bit past that, he comes back. He picks up Phil. They learn. Well, the deputy learned that they fixed the legs for Phil, so he surprises Phil with the legs. They go to prom. Now, at prom, the deputy sees the teacher like give him a sexy little wink. Yeah, prom's just now happening. Everybody's at prom. So
what are we, 30 minutes in?
We're probably about 45 minutes in, because this movie's only like an hour and 20 minutes. So he sees the teacher give him a sexy little wink, walks away. So he's kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. So he follows her. And then he sees a horseshoe crab in the school hallway. So originally he's like, what the heck are you, little guy? And he gets chased by it, which I'm sorry, if I get chased by a horseshoe crab, if it's running at me, I'm not going to be scared. I know they have nothing, but apparently nobody in this universe knows what a horseshoe crab is. So he gets chased by this horseshoe crab. He eventually loses it, and he runs into the sexy teacher, who apparently went to the bathroom. And, you know, he's trying to explain himself, and he's trying to explain like, oh no, I wasn't trying to follow you to the bathroom. I was getting chased by a badger or something. I don't know why everybody thinks horseshoe crabs in this universe are badgers, but they go back to the dance.
Where are we at? Where are these people? Where is this town at?
I don't know. All you know is it's next to a beach.
Is it? Oh, it's next to a beach. I was about to say, like, yeah. Is it somewhere where a horseshoe crab could be? Because if we're talking about like this is in the middle of fucking Kansas, I can understand why people are calling this horseshoe crab a fucking badger. Because why the fuck would there be a crab in Kansas?
It takes place in Wisconsin.
It takes place in fucking Wisconsin. I'm being chased by a wheel of cheese.
I mean, they had a whale wash up on the beach. They're definitely near the ocean.
You all right there, Murky? The wheel of cheese joke gets you?
Yeah.
So everybody's dancing. Phil's dancing with Maddie. You can definitely feel like, oh, young love's kind of blossoming here. Then a horseshoe crab that was in the hallway sneaks into the gymnasium where they're holding prom, and he goes up to the DJ, and he's like looking at the DJ. He's kind of bopping along with the music a little bit. DJ sees this, he leans down to it, and he's bopping along with the horseshoe crab,
and then he fucking eats him.
Well, DJ gets up, changes the music, And then the horseshoe crab attacks him, and it takes like people like 30 full seconds to realize the music has stopped.
Let's be real here.
The DJ's getting eaten.
Japan nuked itself fucking 40 minutes ago. And people still haven't figured that one out yet. Pretty sure you can see the radiation cloud coming at you and fucking wherever this is in California at this point.
When the DJ changed the song, he changed it to Sandstorm.
So
do.
Then the horseshoe crab is wearing the beanie of the DJ.
Please tell me he played the fucking crab rave song. Please tell me, man, this movie was made in 2022 and they missed the opportunity to have the crab be a goddamn DJ
It was so
and just go like fuck you. They probably couldn't get the rights, let's be real.
They obviously couldn't. Gets up, changes the song, and then like other horseshoe crabs are in the room and they start like trying to attack people, and the deputy's like, everybody out. So they try running to the doors. Then this flood of horseshoe crabs comes in. And he's like, nope.
This sounds like they pulled the plot of when SpongeBob had a fucking rave with the jellyfish and then changed the song on them and they all got pissed off.
That and the one where all the sardines show up in the buses.
Yeah.
Just
I think that was the very first
the
episode.
Krusty Krab.
Meep.
So then they're all fighting these horseshoe crabs there in the gymnasium, which apparently are very easy to kill because they step on these things and they die. And fun fact, horseshoe crabs have blue blood. They kept that in the movie. So that was a neat little thing that they did.
Well, I mean,
the one thing they got right.
The one thing they got right. Crabs have blue blood. Cool.
So the crabs are there. Everybody's fighting back. They're trying to run out of the school at this point. And that's also when they learn about these big, gigantic mutant crabs that are walking around and attacking people. So they get chased by this one. Phil's legs stop working. So his brother's carrying him around.
I keep forgetting that this guy's a quadriplegic. So we just keep talking about
just para. He can use his arms.
Oh, I mean, I think at this point, it doesn't really matter. What's that going to do?
So his brother has to carry him because the legs aren't working anymore. And that's when everybody's like, what the heck are these? And the science teacher has to show everybody that they're horseshoe crabs. She's like, I think they're, and she says the Latin name of them. And then she shows them a picture from an encyclopedia that it's a horseshoe crab. And then that's when the brother drops that he saw a whale that had something attack it. So he gets one of those really old rolly things where it was the light projected on the that thin piece of, the projector.
And then you would write on it. And
overhead projector.
Yeah, overhead projector.
And he's drawing this little horseshoe crab. Then he drew the thing that chased him out there. And then he's drawing what he thinks a big one looks like that attacked the whale. So they know there's a huge one out there somewhere.
So he just got a piece of graph paper and went, this is what we're dealing with. And then drew a bigger circle and said, this is what they are.
Oh, he actually tried drawing them.
All right. Okay.
So, and they also get saved by Radu. Radu shows up because the crab tries chasing them again, and he jumps out of a trash can with a katana. He's shirtless, has a dead horseshoe crab on his chest, and he slices this motherfucker in half.
Where'd he get this katana? I have so many questions. What ethnicity was this guy?
He's white, I can tell you that much.
I know, he's a foreign exchange student, and you very well have told me that he is from some other country.
Yes. So they also learn that these crabs are radioactive. So of course, he gets the
they blew up Japan.
Blew up Japan.
Well, the characters don't know that. Oh, and also Radu has blue blood all over his face as war paint that he put there.
It fucking looks like Avatar without the blue skin.
It looks more like Rambo when he's in the forest ready to kill those guys.
I'm thinking he just drew a bunch of stars like all over his face.
It's all lines, really. So they decide to go back to Phil's farm to try to create something that can combat the big gigantic crab for whenever it shows up. So they're driving through town, and that's when they see like the crabs have completely taken over, because apparently these crabs can turn you into like parasite zombies because they get on your back and they like control you a little bit.
So now we're into a zombie movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
this is the 57 millionth plot line.
It's Alien, but they get it doggy style. What the fuck?
Essentially. And as they're driving through town, and they're just watching people get murdered by these things. Like even the tiny ones, which we've established are very easy to kill. You can step on them and they die. And the priest jumps on the front of the car and he starts like,
oh, he's back! God. Oh my God, he's back! Please tell me he jumps in the car like this.
No, he jumps on there and he starts like praising them for like showing up, thinking that like God sent them. And then like you see out of the corner of the frame, a big crab's coming up like, oh. And they're like trying to warn him like, hey, big crab. And then he gets like torn off of the car and you just see the front of the car get covered in blood.
Very shitty costumes that people are just walking around in, like that one movie you said, like the fucking shark movie where it was just like the fucking dudes in like weird
Shark Side of the Moon.
Oh,
yeah,
Shark Side of the Moon. That was all
Shark
CG.
Side
there was
of
no
the
costumes.
That was CG. Okay,
that was all CG. But these costumes were probably the best that was in the movie. I will say that much. They were like the best prop. So they eventually get back to the barn, and the deputy is going to go try to look for the sheriff while the rest of them try to come up with a plan and get like bunkered down in that barn. And that's where they basically decide to make a gigantic mech out of all the shit that they have there in the barn.
All right. So we're going like either Iron Man or Gundam. Got it. This checks out.
However, it randomly turns into a Disney Channel movie here.
What?
Think like early 2000s when they were doing like a montage of things and they would like zoom in on the character.
I have ADHD. Something. We're already working well outside of my working memory.
I'm aware.
There's way too much happening right now.
So it randomly becomes a Disney Channel movie because they're just randomly doing shit. And then they're holding something and they're talking to the camera and they're like, wrench, wires, plank of wood. Like it's just weird. And
they ran
like
out of fucking content. They fucking ran out of storylines, dude.
I think they needed to fill out that, movie theater runtime.
Bro, I feel like if we try to make Nicolas Cage, it's gonna have a way better shot than this fucking shithole.
So I just remember during that whole thing, Radu tries to go up to Maddie's mom and trades her like something that was in his pocket for her daughter's hand in marriage. And, she accepts it without realizing what it was an offer for. And then he's like, okay, I accept your daughter's hand in marriage. And she's like, no. But while that's going on, it jumps back to the deputy. The deputy goes to the sheriff's house. It's full of fucking weed plants, like head to toe. This bitch is covered. This is also where we learn that the sheriff is now being taken over by one of the horseshoe crabs. And when the deputy walks into there, before he knows that the sheriff has been taken over, a horseshoe crab is just watching porn. And it shows these women just rubbing their breasts against each other. So he walks up and he stomps on this.
He's watching the sex from the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Look at this pool full of chocolate pudding.
And then he has to fight the sheriff, and sadly, he has to kill the sheriff and the horseshoe crab that's on him. And
sadly,
well, the sheriff was actually a really good dude. He was one of the only decent characters in the entire movie.
Yeah, the only problem is he's in the movie.
So,
God, you're telling this story. I feel like I need a goddamn drink just to understand this.
The crabs try to break into the barn. Radu is able to get one of them distracted and runs into a trailer and is able to again just slice it with his katana.
Because he just has a katana. Okay.
And the other one gets taken out by Maddie's mom because she gets like a wrench or something.
Do we not know what Maddie's mom's name is? Is it just Maddie's? Okay.
I truly do not remember her name or the deputy's name. So eventually they're able to protect the barn. They finish the thing and they decide to finally launch it. And by the way, this thing is controlled.
We're launching the mech.
Buttons. We're launching the mech, and this mech is controlled with a gigantic like wheel for a ship, like a pirate ship wheel.
Wait, but are you in the mech?
Phil is in the mech.
Okay.
Phil's the one controlling this. So,
I was almost expecting you to say you control it like a fighting game, and you have like a stick and a bunch of buttons, because that's all they had in the budget.
So the mech, it's a gigantic shark mech that's standing on like two legs and has two hands. And they walk it to the beach, which coincidentally is right when the gigantic one is coming out of the water. So Phil is fighting this gigantic crab. Like there's like a 5-10 minute action scene of him just fighting this crab. However, the crab is kicking his ass the entire fucking time. No matter what he does, it is just beating the shit out of him. And then out of nowhere, his brother shows up in his car and he's like, hold on, I'm coming. And then he jumps out of his car and his car like somehow is able to keep going forward, launches off of a cliff, hits the back of this crab, which like fully distracts it. So Phil, while he's on his back and his mech is like almost torn into pieces, like it's missing an arm because the crab tore that bitch off. He grabs it with his other arm, opens its mouth, and inside the mech, he decides to take the battery that was in his, exo legs that he was using to now power this mech. He shoots it as a laser at the glass visor that's at the front, and it builds up on the glass and eventually just shoots out like, I'm a firing my laser on this motherfucker, and just toasts him. And then everybody's standing there like cheering. And then eventually where the ball sack is on this mech, because it kind of looks like it has balls. It even shows it. It opens up, crawls out Phil, and he falls like over.
Oh, he just wanted to re-experience being birthed.
And, everybody's hooting and hollering. And I'm like, they didn't do it. They just killed the big crab, but they didn't save the town or anything. And then it kind of like fades to black. You think the credits are going to roll. And then it like comes back and it's on Phil's face and he's being woken up by Maddie. And she was like, hey, it's showtime. And then he like wheels himself up to the control panel of his mech. He turns over. Him and Maddie finally have like a kiss. And then they're in fucking Japan and there's 3 gigantic crab monsters destroying Tokyo. And he like pulls out his like sword that's the tail of the shark. And he says like a one-liner and he swings at the camera and boom, end of movie. Now the credits are rolling. However, it shows the gymnasium where the prom was happening and a janitor's coming out and he's like trying to clean all of it up. And the end credit song is just Radu basically singing about how he doesn't like crabs. So like electronic music. And that's it. That's the movie of crabs.
Electric Boogaloo.
All right. That's ADHD After Dark. I don't know how to respond to any of that last sequence.
So if you're the director of Crabs and you hear this, please let me be in the sequel. Please, I will do it for free. Get me on that set.
Let us record the podcast in the sequel.
You can be the electric and the Boogaloo.
Oh,
guaranteed.
Dude, that's a thing.
That's absolutely a thing.
My brain hurts.
I was following that movie for the first 4 minutes, and then I got lost. And then you asked me to think about what a Disney movie was. I couldn't.
My brain hurts.
It's all over the place. It is kind of a messy movie, I will say. However, it was enjoyable. I was able to sit there.
But wait,
and
so
actually have a good time.
wait. Does that mean that like everything that happened in the movie was a dream, but they're still in a giant mech fighting crabs?
I don't think it was a dream. I don't know.
Japan was already destroyed at the beginning of the movie.
But I mean, just one of the islands, probably.
That's the whole of Japan.
Japan's several islands.
If you blow up a nuclear reactor, Japan's dead.
More or less.
Just look at the Fukushima disaster. That was all of Japan.
All I gotta say is I will work for free. I think all of ADHD After Dark would be in that movie for free.
We'll even record our podcast live during that movie filming because I don't think you care about leaks. We'll publish the episode while we're being eaten by fucking horses.
Any kind of press for that is good press.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you mail us the crab puppets, we will do that entire rest of the podcast with the crab puppets.
Easy. Did I tell you guys how I thought I was going to get arrested and then I watched somebody else and their friend get arrested?
What a weird fucking segue.
Was this recent?
No, yeah,
this was Saturday.
I still need to let me unwind my brain from horseshoe crab. Like,
can I use the restroom?
You can use the restroom. My brain needs a little bit of a break between that story.
Crap.
I mean, it's a lot.
I won't make it super long, but this did happen.
I mean, you can make it take the last
and I got
10 minutes
lucky.
of the podcast.
I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
Oh. Any bets on what he almost got arrested for? Smoking weed's my guess.
I mean, if he was in the current state in which he is living, in which it is legal.
Yeah, but we know that he can travel to another state where it's not.
It was either probably for weed, drinking, or how he was driving.
Driving down the road with a bunch of shit on the side of his car because he had to poop.
Probably.
Ricky was like, "Oh shit, I gotta go poop." He pulled off to the side.
So he just leans out.
Officer called him for littering. Wow.
I actually have a very similar story to Murky's.
About almost getting arrested?
Yeah, well, almost getting pulled over by police for doing something. So my car was getting repaired down in South Carolina, so I was driving my ex-wife's car, and she had this little tiny copper oranges. I'm trying to remember what kind of car it was. It was basically like one of those.
Is it a Ford?
It wasn't a Ford. I want to say it was a Chevy.
Was it like one of those weird hatchbacks that's like got the fucking orange color?
No, it was a muscle car. She bought a muscle car.
Okay.
And I had to drive in. This bitch was low. I was not paying attention to the speed that I was going until it registered in my brain. I had just passed a police officer. I was on a highway, which was supposed to be like around 60, 65. And I'm pulling like 80, 85. And I just was able to sneak my way into traffic, slow myself down. Just a little bit ahead of me was a very, very similar looking car, just a lot newer. Police officer was able to zoom up, seize that car, and from what I'm assuming, thought that was me, has lights going, pulls up behind it and waits until they're out into the shoulder. And I'm like, that car looks a lot like this one. I think you thought that was me.
You got somebody a ticket.
Yep.
I hope they weren't speeding and they fought that in court and they were like, "Oh, yeah, that's not you."
You know what? I hope they were able to get off from that. I'm really hoping that I was not the cause for the reason why they got a ticket. But there are some days where that still haunts me in my dreams.
Nice. Now you got the horseshoe crabs to haunt you in your dreams. It's gonna eat your face. I'm surprised you're not scared of horseshoe crabs because they look a lot like stingrays.
No, I'm perfectly fine with them. It's just stingrays.
All right, Murky, how'd you almost fuck up?
Okay. So, I'm going to need a drink for this one. Saturday at roughly 11 o'clock. Oh my God. I was talking. I just poured and poured. We got the kayaks in the water, and we started to kayak across the lake. Myself and 3 others.
Okay.
Go across the lake, and we get into the creek. You're familiar with said creek.
Yeah.
And we're floating. Originally, we were going to get off at the first stop, which is like 3.5 hours, roughly, of floating. But the current was pretty quick because the water was high. And we're drinking along the way. Get to the first stop, and some friends get off. Well, there's no trash cans at the first stop. Okay. So I tell them to give me their empties, and we stuff them in the front of my kayak because there's like a bungee net up there. So I kind of stretch it out and it'll hold everything. The second part is another 3 hours.
Okay.
We have plenty of snacks and food. We're eating this whole time, drinking water too, but also, again, we're drinking. This is a 7-hour trip altogether. So there's a lot of empties in my kayak. We get to the end. The way you come in at the end is you come up into like a dirt embankment, and then you have to go up a hill. You have to drag your kayak up a hill to get up to a parking lot where my dad was meeting us, because again, we've been drinking all day. So my dad was meeting us with the truck to put the kayaks in the back of the truck. One of my friends who got there just before myself and Dusty did. At this point, there's 3 of us. He goes up the hill, he gets to the top of the hill, he looks at me, he goes, "Hey, the Department of Natural Resources is up here." And I go, "Shit." So the DNR. I open the cooler because I have a big red cooler in the back of my kayak that had a bunch of sandwiches. Take the 12-pack Hawaiian rolls. If you guys want a good snack idea, 12-pack Hawaiian rolls, cut it in half. Ham, cheese, any condiments you want, slam the half back on it, put it right back in the package. It's perfect for a cooler. Great snacks.
Okay.
I'm throwing empties at these sandwiches, and I close the cooler, and there's still a bunch of empties in the front of my kayak. I'm like, fuck. So then I help Dusty up the hill. We get up the top of the hill, and the officer asks us, "Okay, do you guys have life jackets on your vessel today?" I was like, "No, officer, I apologize, we don't." Just being honest with you, I did 100%. I did not. He goes, "Hey, man, that's cool. Appreciate you being honest. But we're just out here educating people today, and if we can just get a name and phone number from you, we're just going to give you a warning. No tickets, anything. We just want you to be safe next time."
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, nice. Awesome. Hey, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you." He goes, "Yeah. Once you get your last kayak up here, just come over to the truck. Again, I'll get your name and phone number. Everything will be cool." Awesome. I go down to get my kayak. The other officer comes down with me to help me with my kayak. And he's waiting for me to either start slurring my words, 1, 2, fall on my face going up this hill, being too fucked up. I grabbed this kayak, and you would have thought like I was back fresh in college wrestling, because I just grabbed the front of this thing with the cooler strapped in the back and like everything, and just right up the hill. He touched the back a little bit, and he got to the top, and he looked at all the empties, and he looked at me for a second, and they looked at the empties. He goes, "So, man, you seem like you're okay." He goes, "But that's a lot. That looks like you drank a lot. Like, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Well, we had about 6 or 7 friends with us this morning. We started at roughly 11 at the lake, and I got all their empties because there's no trash cans at the first drop off, and that's why those are all here." And at that exact point, my dad is pulling into the parking lot. And I'm like, and also, my dad's actually here to pick us up and get the kayaks in the truck and stuff. So he goes, "You know what, man? Thank you so much, man. Thanks for being prepared. Like, thanks for having a plan." And I was like, "Of course, officer."
Yes, sir.
Of course, officer.
We appreciate you being out here doing your job and making sure everybody's being safe out here, and keeping it safe for everybody else. So then all the kayaks are up. We get all the trash out, put them in the trash
Right.
with recycling. They have recycling bins up there. They have trash. They have everything. So we get everything cleaned up, and we're loading the kayaks. Well, then there's two guys that come in behind us. The natural resource officers meet them down at the water. I think they had just gotten there, and like they weren't coming down yet. Like we were the first people they checked, is what I'm guessing. Because there were people ahead of us that were like, there's no way they were dragging up a kayak up a hill by themselves coherently, kind of thing, which is dangerous. Don't do that, folks. And they meet him down at the water. They're down there talking to him. We're loading stuff up, and then the DNR officers are helping them with their kayaks up. And they take their kayaks and they put them in the back of a single DNR vehicle. They strap them down. They pat down both the gentlemen. They put them in the back of the truck, and then both trucks drive away. So either one, they had drugs. That's my guess. Or two, it was a public intoxication thing, and they were trying to get out their kayaks and just stumbling, bumbling, and rumbling their way right to the local county sheriff's department.
So the drinking was allowed, but not like...
Yeah, you could go out there and drink. They have everything put away so you can recycle, but you have to be responsible.
Well, yeah.
You can't go out there and just
the dude looked at your kayak
and have your vehicle waiting. Yeah,
dude looked at your kayak and he was like, "Huh, you're either a raging alcoholic or something else is happening here."
Well,
both of which are true.
I grabbed the front of my kayak, and again, there's like a 40-pound cooler just in the back of the kayak.
Murky was like, "I can't fuck up here. I have to."
Yeah, dude, I was in flip flops.
You had to lock it in.
Lock it in. Fucking lock it in. Lock it in.
I'm going to need you to lock it in right now.
Man, literally.
And just, dude, stomped my way up this hill so fast. And yeah, he looked at all the empties and he's like, there's no way this guy's not fucked up. He looked at me, he's like, well, if he was fucked up, he would just fell on his face. He's carried, he had just dragged 100 some odd pounds up this fucking steep ass hill. I almost fell and I'm not carrying anything. And, yeah. Didn't go to jail.
Good.
Someone else did. Someone else did.
Well, they shouldn't have been super drunk.
We had a plan in place. They did not. Yeah, they either had a PI or they had possession of something that they shouldn't have had. You gotta be smarter than that, folks. You gotta be smarter than that. Yeah, it was scary. I was scared for a second. I was like, we're going to jail, dude. They're gonna see this and they're not even gonna ask any questions. They're like, I'm gonna need you to put your hands behind your back. Breathe into this for me. Sir, I'm not driving. I don't give a shit. Fuck.
Get bent.
Look, man, I don't give a fuck what you're saying. Right, breathe into this for me. Oh, you have a ride? Yeah, you had a ride.
Now you have a different ride.
I'm your taxi now. Yeah.
Unpaid for by your local taxes.
Tightened up my asshole.
I can imagine.
Oh, boy. We talked about that movie for fucking 1 hour, dude.
That movie is fire, dude. I'm going to have to watch it.
It's on Tubi.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to fucking... Next time I go to any aquarium where you can, like, touch the...
You're going to fucking kill the horseshoe crabs. Be careful. It's going to dodge out of the way and you're going to fucking break somebody's face open.
It's going to doggy style fuck my brain.
Yeah.
And you're going to become one of those shambling little zombies.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, that was a podcast.
That was a podcast.
Wiener.
Wiener, wiener. Wiener, wiener, wiener. Wiener, wiener.
Go, wiener. Next to Ian Mookie's wiener.
Catch us next week with your wiener in our ears.